Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and it's time for another workout. And today is max effort bench press day, and today I went ahead and went with the floor press. Now, one thing I like about the floor press is that it is a legitimate test of strength. You can't use technique, you can't really use leg drive, and because for me it is essentially a full range of motion exercise because I can touch my chest on it. This is a good test of where my pressing strength is. And it's been 2 months, exactly 2 months since I hit a max on this, and I got 315 last time. So I realized if my pressing strength has gone up, meaning my triceps, chest, all of that, if they've gotten bigger and stronger, I should be able to press more weight on this. And I ended up getting the 315, and it felt challenging, but I'm like, let me go ahead and try 325. And I got 325, and it looked better on camera when I got to it than it felt. So this tells me a lot about where my strength is going. And for me, I'm really, really happy about that. I mean, I put in a lot of work on my benching specialization and pressing specialization lately. And a 10-pound increase in 2 months is actually really, really substantial. Now, a lot of people who are more novice lifters are going to go, what, 10 pounds in 2 months? Is that good? It's like at my level in the game, to have gained 10 pounds on the floor press in 2 months with no body fat gain and no body weight gain is actually really, really good. Like, I'm happy with that. That means that my specialization is on point. Like, I'll be shocked if I could pull that off a second 2 months in a row, right? We're going to try for it, but I mean, I wouldn't even bank on that. That's getting pretty difficult to do. Like, I would actually be happy with 5 pounds every 2 months. Like, I actually would. I'd be happy with that. But we're going to get as much as we can. But I did notice that the lockouts are a little slow on these still, which tells me, again, my tricep and follow-through strength is really the issue. And for me, on these, I had to focus on really driving all the way through. Now, it's ironic because I still feel the floor press completely in my chest and my front delts to some extent, but I feel it tremendously in my pecs. Like, it is absolutely a chest exercise for me, very much so. You know, and there's good EMG data to support that too. So it's not just me. There's good EMG data to support it. But I've always said that I always get DOMs in my chest after doing any sort of volume on the floor press. But here's the 325. Here's the 325. And I'm happy with it. It looks good on camera. It's nice and strong here. It felt grindy though when I did it. Like, I had to really, really concentrate on just squeezing that bar and pushing myself away from it as hard as I could to follow through with it, right? Because it's moving and then it started to slow right there near the top. Now, that looked smooth. But when I was doing it, that felt like 3 or 4 seconds to lock it. So we're going to keep working on that follow-through strength, and that's what I'm doing with everything. Now, I decided since I'm already down here, I'm like, well, let me go ahead and just do some floor presses with chains just to get some extra tricep work for one of my tricep exercises for the day because I'm already set up. And it's a good assistance exercise for what I saw because I'm a little slow at the top. Now, some people say, well, you don't have all the chain on there. No, of course I don't. There is probably, because of just the amount of range of motion involved, there's no way for me to get a lot of chain. There's probably only 10 pounds difference between the bottom and the top. All right, and there's not much more than the bar weight on here. I mean, realistically speaking, even at the lockout, that is maybe 20 total pounds of chain added, right? Maybe 20, because the whole chain set is 65 pounds. And it's maybe a third of it, you know, so it's probably 20 pounds extra. So it's really only locking like 245. So I ended up doing, I believe, 4 sets of 6. I lost count, I believe so. Either 4 or 5 sets of 6. I think it's 5 sets of 6, which is, 5 sets of 6 is what I ended up doing on this. And it's not even that important to know how much chain weight we have because, again, this is just an accessory movement, right? We don't have to program all these accessory movements all the time. We're just going for rate of perceived exertion, workload, all of that stuff. Your programming is on your main lifts. That's where it really, really matters. Only on an accessory movement that you really tremendously care about does strict tracking and progression become a big deal. And this was kind of a one-off exercise just to hit these areas because I just didn't feel like inclining today. I'll do the incline later this week because I want to keep getting stronger at it. But I decided, again, since I'm already set up on the floor press and I can clearly see that I'm slower at the lockout on the floor press, let's just do, assistance work with that with a little bit of chain weight, right? Pretty simple. I mean, this stuff doesn't have to be that complicated when you're picking accessories. It really doesn't, guys. It can be as simple as that. Well, here's the lift I was doing and seems slow here. Let me just make it a little harder at that point. and do a bunch of rep work. All right, easy peasy, 5 sets of 6. But I did decide after doing this to go back over to JM presses because I know the JM presses are something I need. I haven't done them for 2 weeks because I've done other stuff, and it's been hard to do multiple presses in a day and still JM press. So I decided I need to work them back in because I know they're a great accessory. I know I really feel them in my whole tricep area, and I know they're going to help me with my bench press. And so I need to do them. And today was a good day to do it because I felt like I still had some pressing strength after this. I mean, these were challenging, but they didn't fatigue me the same way that, say, doing a bunch of dynamic work or max effort work and then the incline bench does. It really fatigues me. And it feels like it takes all of my pressing strength out. So my chest doesn't ever have anything left. Whereas in this, didn't. In fact, on these, I didn't even feel these in my triceps until the 4th set. So surprisingly, even though some people say, oh yeah, you took an inch narrower grip and then you put chains on, this should be, a little more tricep dominant. It wasn't. Like, I really just feel it in my chest. I just feel it in my chest. So it really isn't that fantastic of a tricep movement. I mean, triceps are getting worked, but I certainly don't feel them there. Now, that doesn't mean everything. Where you feel something isn't always a guarantee of what it's working, but it can be. So I'm like, let me go ahead and do the JM presses. And yeah, these were easy because I had plenty of tricep strength left. And I honestly thought because I haven't done them for 2 weeks, I wouldn't be able to handle my normal weight. So I started 10 pounds lighter, right? 10 pounds less than I've been doing. And it felt too light. So I went back to my normal work weight that I had been doing, that I'd done 5 sets of 10 with. And I did my next 4 sets of 10 with that. And it was challenging. But it didn't completely floor me. So this tells me my tricep strength is coming along, right? My tricep work capacity is going up. And I think some of that extra little band work helps. I might start doing some of those band press downs a little bit on my off days or during second workouts, just for the extra work capacity, because again, that's important. If we want triceps to get bigger and stronger, we could stand to improve their work capacity. We could stand to have that extra active recovery because 25, 30 rep sets with bands of an exercise in and of itself can almost be an active recovery type movement, right? Where we're just kind of flushing blood through the muscle to help it recover, working on connective tissue strength, working on work capacity, endurance. And it might not really have that significant of a hypertrophy benefit, but it can improve work capacity, it might improve recovery. So it's almost a restoration effect is how some people describe it. So it might be worth me doing some of that a bit on the off days and putting a little more focus back on the JM press on the actual pressing days and keep getting stronger at these. Because I've gotten stronger at these and my floor press is up 10 pounds. Now, obviously, this isn't the only factor. It's the cumulative effect of the training that matters. But it probably isn't hurting. It is a time-proven, bench-specific tricep exercise. So we'll keep working on it. And like I said, I wanted to work on it again. It's just I haven't had the strength left after all the pressing. So today went good with it, though, and I'm actually adapting to all this increased volume. So we'll see, when Friday gets here, if after my speed work I can do incline and then JM presses after. And if I can, hey, that's fantastic. Because I want to continue to do these and get good at them, but I also know that I need to make sure that my chest doesn't fall behind in terms of strength either. So I need to be doing that incline work. And as I've said before, because I'm weak on the incline, it's possibly a weak link in my whole kinetic chain, right? It's probably a muscular weak link for me on the bench, and we can't afford to have that. So it's a matter of just making all the accessory movements work. And people need to remember with a system like this, and I will have a series coming out explaining it in step by step a lot better. Your accessory work matters because you need all the extra training volume, because it is about training everything. It's about ensuring maximum muscle size in all your primary movers and secondary movers, combined with training maximum strength, combining speed strength. But again, you've got to get training volume in to make sure that everything is big enough, right? You need to be big enough to fill out your frame for any given weight class. So you really want to be as big as possible, but big in the right places. Meaning doing endless amounts of bicep and calf work probably isn't the best way to increase your squat, bench, and deadlift. But they probably won't hurt it either. Just, people who care about that. But Lateral raises next. I got sets of 12 today. We did 11 last time because I'm using these fixed dumbbells. I don't really have a heavier set of dumbbells for now. But again, this is just volume work anyways. We're just trying to create enough workload to make sure my entire shoulder girdle grows, right? I want to make sure my side delts, rear delts, traps, everything are getting enough work. And so it's just a nice extra exercise to add in to ensure that. And it's not fatiguing any of my primary movers enough, though, that it's going to interfere with training. So, hey, great. More volume. We're thickening up the shoulder girdle, which will give me better stability on my bench press. And as far as if my shoulders are growing or not, I really can't tell you. Maybe you guys can tell. I can't tell the difference, and who knows? Probably doesn't matter. In fact, usually big shoulders is a result of getting really lean. Like most guys who you think of with big shoulders, it's not that their shoulders are that big. It's just they lost body fat, and it makes your delts always look bigger and more capped when you lose fat. Plus, you got to remember most bodybuilders inject their delts. The overwhelming majority of bodybuilders inject their delts, even in natural shows. So those guys, it's a different look there. I obviously don't do that. But we picked up a rep on these, so that's 5 more total reps of this in one workout. And that matters. That's a substantial increase in volume. Because I was doing sets of 10, then I got 11, and now I'm up to 12. So 5 sets of 12 with the same weight. That's progressive overload, right? And in this case, it's progressive workload. But volume and workload matter for hypertrophy, right? They matter. And then we did our strict curls. Micro-loaded up. I put a 1 1/4 on each side. So we've added a little more weight and managed to get my 5 sets of 10. But I'm going to admit the last set or two started to get pretty challenging. Like I thought the 5th set of 10 was really hard. Like I don't know that I could have got an 11th rep, maybe. But it would have been tough. But, again, that's the whole point. We micro-load up to make sure that we're right at our limits. So with something like this, a smaller exercise like this, you can just micro-load up. You can take something like this that you're doing 5 sets of 10 on and slowly add microplates with little bitty increments over time to increase the workload with just very, very slow linear progress. Now, I could always periodize this later, and since it is technically a contested lift now, I might. But for now, I need to just build a base with it, right? I just need to make my bicep and all the surrounding muscles bigger, get used to the movement pattern, practice it, and get stronger at it. And like I've said, not only is the strict curl a contested lift now, at least one powerlifting federation actually has it as a lift with rules and strength standards and records. It will help your bench press because, again, just like hammer curls can improve your bench press, it gives you better stability at the elbow joint to bring up your brachialis and biceps and radial brachialis. And this really narrow grip on this strict curl actually works those very effectively. But again, it can give you a better platform to press from. It gives you more stability in the elbow joint. And if you get those muscles big enough, it can create a bit of a cushion, almost a similar effect that maybe a sleeve will. Right? It just gives you a little small extra ability to spring out of the elbow by kind of compressing, the muscles together at the bottom. Now, people would say, how much is that really worth? A pound or two onto your bench? Yeah. But you know what? A pound or two added to your bench is a pound or two added to your bench. It might matter. If you're winning and losing powerlifting meets by 1 pound, that extra pound might matter. And it's not like these are muscles that weigh anything, right? You're never going to add 5 pounds of body weight to your biceps, right? It's impossible. So you're never going to grow out of a weight class because you added 2 inches to your bicep. That's less than a pound of body weight, just so that people know that. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.